Hard upon the heels of the glad tidings came the worst imaginable, those of Paul. In Paul is incarnated the very opposite of the bearer of glad tidings. He represents the genius for hatred, the vision of hatred, the relentless logic of hatred. What indeed has not this disangelist sacrificed to hatred? Above all, the Savior, he nailed him to his own cross. The life, the example, the teaching, the death of Christ, the meaning and the law of the whole Gospels. Nothing was left of all this after that counterfeiter in hatred had reduced it to his uses. Surely not reality, surely not historical truth.
The Christians would decide to assemble their congregations in a covered space, using the model of a building conceived by the Romans as a place to mete out justice, the basilica.
The early Christian basilica is a large space, usually rectangular in shape. It has a central aisle that we call a nave, and sometimes one or two side aisles. And at one end of it, there is a hemispherical projection called an apse. And here is located the altar, around which a priestly class will officiate.
Now we got you your get. You get us our 25%. Got it?
My son was right.
Yeah?
You're mud. Godless clay.
But I will put it to you very simply and gently. I really haven't been treated right, but you haven't been treated right because you're putting yourself in great danger, and the United States hasn't been treated right. So if I don't win this election, and I've been very good, you know, they say Trump's been right about everything. I've been right about a lot of things. Even Ted will admit that. I've been right about a lot of things.
I created a living Gollum.
What the fuck is a Gollum?
In my opinion, the Jewish people would have a lot to do with a loss if I'm at 40%. If I'm at 4%, think of it. That means 60% are voting for Kamala.
Thanks for...
Some monster, Frankenstein.
Get the fuck out of here.
Living dead.
So I take that asshole son of yours and shove him up your ass.
But don't you think that Americans, modern Americans, have rejected this idea, this Indian idea, this ancient idea of nature as revealing the divinity because it would have kept us from achieving dominance over nature?
The entire concept of blessedness, the whole and only reality of the Gospels, is juggled away, in favor of a state of existence after death. St. Paul, with that rabbinical impudence which shows itself in all his doings, gave a logical quality to that conception, that indecent conception, in this way, quote, "If Christ did not rise from the dead, then all our faith is in vain," unquote.
Yeah, but that's the biblical condemnation of nature that they inherited from their own religion and brought with them. God is not in nature. God is separate from nature, and nature is not God. And this distinction between God and the world is not to be found in basic Hinduism or Buddhism either.
The essential difference between the two religions of decadence. Buddhism promises nothing, but actually fulfills. Christianity promises everything, but fulfills nothing.
You're saying that the environment shapes the story?
They respond to it, do you see? But we have a tradition that comes from the first millennium BC somewhere else, and we're handling that. It has not turned over and assimilated the qualities of our culture and the new things that are possible and the new vision of the universe. It must be kept alive.
Same old master crime against history. He simply struck out the yesterday and the day before yesterday of Christianity and invented his own history of Christian beginnings. Going further, he treated the history of Israel to another falsification, so that it became a mere prologue to his achievement. All the prophets, it now appeared, had referred to his Savior. Later on, the Church even falsified the history of man in order to make it a prologue to Christianity.
The only people that can keep it alive are artists of one kind or another. That the artist is, his function is the mythologization of the environment.
And at once there sprang from the Gospels the most contemptible of all unfulfillable promises, the shameless doctrine of personal immortality. Paul even preached it as a reward. Section 42. One now begins to see just what it was that came to an end with the death on the cross, a new and thoroughly original effort to found a Buddhistic peace movement.
Are you Buddha?
Oh, just call me awake. Cute, ain't it?
Yeah. I guess I should be asking you for forgiveness.
Well, why would you want to go and do a fool thing like that for?
Because I'm using your religion as my religion.
Oral, oral, oral. Now, listen here. Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of that candle will not be shortened. Get it?
I think so. Then it's okay to use Buddhism to help me be a good Christian?
Well, now, come on, what do you think?
And so establish happiness on earth. Real, not merely promised.
Hey, you look different.
I do? How'd you mean different?
Well, you look exactly like me.
Well, that don't sound too different.
I guess not.
But it sure do sound like you're awake now.
I am.
Good job, kid. But I reckon I wouldn't go telling anybody here in Morrilton about that. They wouldn't get it.
You're right about that. Thanks.
Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Now you go out there and get those manises.
Come on, nothing!
And the notion of divinity or divine life in my mind would be what would determine my decision. And if it were rather crude, it would be a rather crude decision.
But is divinity just what we think?
Yes.